A professional beauty, Marcello noted indifferently, looking through black glasses at his new film partner. A magnificent figure, golden hair with a copper sheen, classic, perfectly regular facial features. Beautiful, but so cold. Yes, he had heard a lot about the smooth, northern character of Catherine Deneuve. They talked about her affair with the famous director Roger Vadim. The actress had a memory from him, 7-year-old son Christian. But Marcello didn't care. He was just going through a hard breakup with another lover. Therefore, like a true emotional Italian, he showed his suffering to everyone. He cut his hair short, wore black glasses, and locked himself in his van in between filming. Catherine wasn't like that. She also had problems in her personal life, but not a single living soul knew about it. Always calm, always restrained, very cool, and the exact opposite of Marcello, ice and flame. According to the script of the film, the characters Mastroianni and Deneuve lost a child. In order for them to enter deeply enough into the image of suffering parents, the director of the film locked them in a semi-dark apartment without a TV, radio, books, and almost no food. They came out of there quite plausibly exhausted, but the conclusion also had a side effect. From that day on, Marcello and Catherine looked at each other with completely different eyes. A week later, the entire film crew was gossiping that an affair had begun between the stars, although no one knew for sure. Catherine herself put the dots on the I, one day boldly moving into Mastroianni's van. He was amazed. What he did not expect from Deneuve was courage and disregard for decency. However, she had nothing to be ashamed of. Never married. She refused everyone who offered her a hand and heart. She had the right to an open relationship. But Mastroianni, the owner of a wife and numerous children, just had reason to fear human rumor. However, his wife Flora was already used to the constant adventures of her handsome husband and forgave him absolutely everything. How shocked Flora would be to learn that this time Mastroianni is seriously in love. But she didn't even know about it until one day, out of the blue, his call rang from Paris. "I can't live without her, Flora. Let me go." The 49-year-old Italian almost cried into the phone, asking his wife for a divorce for the first time in his life. Then there were curses on her part and humiliated requests from him. In the end, she resigned herself, secretly hoping that he would return to the family nest, and gave him a divorce. Marcello was over the moon with happiness, rushing by car to Catherine's house. A smile still lit up his face when he, confused, uttered the cherished words, looking into the calm eyes of his beloved. "That's impossible," Catherine snapped, and it horrified him. "I'm not going to get married, not even to you." Marcello's heart ached. "She refused me." Again, the same sobbing notes in her husband's voice melted Flora's heart, and she immediately felt passionate pity for him. How can she, this French woman, maybe she's crazy. Marcello's male ego did not torment him for long. After licking his wounds, he rushed back to Catherine in Paris, driving the directors and agents to despair. Everything went as before, only the hot and passionate Mastroianni was increasingly oppressed by the coldness of his beloved. Others did not see any signs of love in her at all, and he almost shouted at every press conference, "She loves me." In the autumn of the same year, the main topic of gossip in the cinema was the news. Catherine Deneuve is expecting a child from Mastroianni. He was happy again, hoping that this would bind Catherine to him forever. Juliet Mazzina, the famous Italian actress, famous for her sharp tongue, upon learning about this, sneered. No other way than poor Marcello came up with the last resort to take this impregnable bastion of French independence. On the day Chiara Mastroianni was born, Marcello bought several cases of champagne and treated everyone on the street. He was genuinely happy, so that he infected all passers-by with his fun. And from the very first day, Mastroianni singled out the girl from the mass of his children. She was his most beloved. When asked about this, he always replied, "I loved her mother more than anyone in the world." From the moment of the first refusal, he gained patience and began to behave more cautiously with Catherine, so he carefully prepared for the next marriage proposal by choosing the right moment. However, it didn't help. 6 months after the birth of baby Chiara, Flora heard the same phrase on the phone again. "She refused me," and no longer particularly hid in tears. The relationship began to deteriorate. Marcello did not have enough strength to leave Catherine, but suffered, not sure of her love for him. One day, when he was trying to give her son Christian some expensive gift, she brutally rebuked Mastroianni. "Don't tame him. You will leave, and he will suffer." That's when he realized what she was afraid of: pain, suffering, unnecessary passions. But how could he give her carelessness and calmness if his whole nature is passion? Quarrels and showdowns irritated Catherine, and one day she firmly told him, "Our relationship is over. I don't want to go on with this anymore. It's over." He returned to Flora, but he was no longer the same carefree and easy-going handsome man. There was suffering and unsatisfied passion for the Snow Queen in his eyes. He longed to melt the ice in her heart, and she didn't want to leave even a small loophole for the destructive fire. And more than anything, she was afraid of losing her hardness from its heat. Ice and fire are incompatible, but who can forbid them to love each other? After the breakup, Marcello, meeting with his little daughter, often took her to the cinema, and certainly to a film with her mother's participation. One day in the middle of session, Chiara asked, "Dad, let's get out of here. I feel sorry for you. You cry all the time." Chiara Mastroianni grew up to be a real beauty, eclipsing both parents, and in character, she combined calm self-confidence, taken from her mother, and purely Italian charm. And of course, she became an actress.